So it has been a few days since I last made a video, and recently in the Championship we have had a whole lot of drama go down. We've had all the drama going on off the pitch at both Birmingham and Bolton Wanderers, with Bolton potentially facing administration and a 12-point deduction. Since then though, all that has been sorted out, and that won't be the case as they have repaid all the loans that they were owing. And it was just a really crazy week in the Championship in general really. So Birmingham and Bolton fans especially, I'd be very interested to know from you guys as to what have you made of this last week in the Championship. And apologies that I've not been too regular with my uploads recently, as I am starting university next week. I've been a bit busy this week sorting out some of the stuff for that, so I've not had the most time to go ahead and make some YouTube videos. But today guys, we have recently seen the FIFA 19 ratings being released, and today we are going to be looking into the Championship. So we're going to be going over every single Championship club, and I'm going to be reacting to what I make of each club's ratings for this year's FIFA. So make sure to let me know in the comments down below, do you agree with how EA have rated your players on this year's FIFA? In my opinion, some players have been really undervalued and some players have maybe been a little bit overrated, but we'll get into talking about that as we go through today's video, guys. We'll start the video out by looking at the highest rated players in the Championship in general going into FIFA 19. So here, as you can see on screen now, guys, these are the highest rated players. Now, one thing that database does need to be slightly updated. I think that some of the transfers which happened towards the end of the transfer window or the loan window haven't yet been adapted. So players like Chadley, of course, isn't currently at West Brom, so that needs to be adapted. But currently, Jack Butland is the highest rated player going into FIFA 19 with an 81 rated card, and that's not really a surprise. You know, he's still an England international, still a very good goalkeeper, and I thought he may be a little bit lower than that last season for Stoke in the Premier League. Didn't have the best year for them, but even so, that's to be expected. After that, we then got quite a few players from the relegated clubs, players from Stoke City, West Brom and Swansea, a few of them making some appearances in there. We got Pontus Jansson being 76 rated once again, Jack Grealish being 76, quite an interesting one. Do you guys think that that is a fair rating for him? Should it be higher or lower? Let me know down below. And we got a couple in there which I disagree with, but we'll get into that as we get into talking about each individual club. So we'll go through this list in alphabetical order, starting it out with Aston Villa. So for Villa's ratings this year, this is what we are looking at, with Yannick Bolasie being their highest rated players. Also got 5-star skills being 77 rated. Jack Grealish as a 76. In my opinion, he should probably be 1, maybe 2 ratings higher than that. I myself will probably give Grealish a 77 rated card. I think that will be more reflective of what he is capable of doing. James Chester as well, potentially capable of being a 76. I think he's one of the best defenders in the Championship, probably one of the most consistent performers. Alan Hutton comes in there as a 71 rated player, and John McGinn as well, also being 71. I know that EA do base these ratings off last year, and I can't say that I watched a lot of John McGinn last year because I don't really watch much of Scottish football, but even so, with the way he started at Villa, I'd say he could be a little bit higher than that. And we got Micah Richards being a 69 rated player. I mean, no one's didn't play for like 2 years, so I don't know what they based that rating on. Next up, we then got Birmingham, and a lot of Birmingham's ratings have seemingly stayed quite similar to last year, really. A couple of their players have been downgraded, though. The most notable of them has been Jota, of course. Last season on FIFA being a gold card after coming off the back of a fantastic year with Brentford. Last year for Birmingham didn't really live up to those expectations, and so probably rightly so, he has seen a downgrade going into this year's FIFA. 72, probably about right, maybe a 73, but around that range I'd say is probably fair from what Jota was showing last season with Birmingham. We've got Lee Cam coming in there as a 66 rated player. One player who I'd say that should be probably a bit higher rated for Birmingham is probably going to be Colin there right back. I think that whenever I watch Birmingham play, he's always someone who stands out to me as probably one of their more consistent performers. So I'd probably say that I'd boost him up a little bit from a 70, but Birmingham fans, what do you think of your ratings? Then we have Blackburn Rovers, their main player this season, of course, being Bradley Dack, and EA have gone ahead and gave him a 73 rated card, which actually surprised me a little bit. A lot of the times when teams are promoted up to the Championship from League One, they tend to quite undervalue a lot of their star players. You know, Preston had this when we were first promoted to the Championship. A lot of our, you know, big players from that season weren't really rated fairly in FIFA, I thought, but in fairness to EA, they go ahead and give Bradley Dack a 73 rated card, which I do think is fair. I thought that as he was coming up from League One and this was his first season in the Championship, the max they go to would be about 71, maybe 72, but in fairness to them, they have gone all out with that one. Charlie Mulgrew also being a 72 rated player in there, very good centre-back in the Championship. One player who I'd say should be a little bit higher for them would be Harrison Reed. I mean, while he was playing for Norwich last season, a player who I really like the look of, and I'd say he's better than a 69. Next up, we then have Bolton Wanderers, and for Bolton, a couple of these I disagree with. I'm not sure if Beavers should be their highest rated player, but they got Amiobi there as also a 71 rated player. Quite an unorthodox winger, but I do like the look of Amiobi whenever I see him play. Oztuma last season in League One had a fantastic year. He's coming in as a 70 rated player. Olkowski there right back back, I'd argue he should be a bit higher than 70, especially with the way he started with Bolton. He's been a phenomenal signing for them so far, but the one player I really disagree with for this is Ben Alwick, their goalkeeper, only being 66 rated. I thought that a lot of times last year he dug them out and he should be higher than 66. We then have Brentford, and Brentford are a squad on FIFA who I think on the whole have been quite harshly undervalued really. I'd argue that pretty much every player on this Brentford side should be upgraded by 1 or 2 points really. I don't know what it is, but EA seem to undervalue Brentford every year really. But Ollie Watkins coming in as their highest rated player, deservedly so, an absolute baller, coming in as a left winger on this year's FIFA. 74 rated, got some really nice looking stats for this year's FIFA as well. But I'm still going to say that most of these Brentford players deserve to be a little bit higher rated than what EA has gone ahead and valued them as. After that, we then have Bristol City, and another side who I think have been a little bit harshly dealt with a couple of their ratings. Vyman in there coming in as a 71 rated player. Started the season fantastically for Bristol City, but as FIFA do base these ratings off last year's performances, I can see why they've given him a 71 rated card. That's probably fair based off last season. Jeju coming in as a 72, in my opinion, should be a little bit higher than that, maybe a 73. The same with Marlon Pack as well. I think he's a very underrated central midfielder in the Championship. Makes this Bristol City side tick, and in my opinion deserves to be a little bit higher than that. The same with Thomas Carse as well. Last season for Fulham he was absolutely exceptional and should be higher than the 72. Derby County have got some interesting looking players going into this year's FIFA. We've got Curtis Davis coming in as their highest rated player. Deservedly so, probably is on his day one of the best centre backs in the Championship. One that I do disagree with, I think that Scott Carson should be higher than a 73 rated player. I think that arguably he should be a gold card around about that 75 mark. Last season in the Championship I thought he was absolutely superb. Martin Waghorn only coming in as a 72 rated player. After the season he had last year, I thought he'd get a really big upgrade, you know, getting into double figures for both goals and assists. I thought he'd be much higher than 72. The same with Jack Marriott as well, scoring 33 goals in all competitions last year. You know, considering the upgrade that Bradley Dack got going into this year's FIFA, I thought Jack Marriott may be a little bit higher than the 70. Hull City have seen a couple of their players get a downgrade going into this year's FIFA. Grosicki now being a silver card instead of a gold card. I'd suggest that around the 74 is probably fair, maybe a little bit higher. On his day he's a phenomenal player in the Championship. Jared Bowen though, only being a 69 rated player after the season he had last year, that is an absolute joke in my opinion. He should be way higher than that. His shooting stat as well should probably be better than a 66, considering he got into double figures last year with his breakthrough year with Hull City. And I know that he's still a very young player, and EA don't like to hype up, you know, young players too much and make them overrated, but even so, considering some of the other players in the Championship who are 69 rated, Jared Bowen should be way higher than that. Ipswich have got quite an interesting squad going into this year's FIFA. You know, it's quite a rebuilding job at Ipswich Town. What I'd also be interested to know from you guys is, would you like to see me do a career mode going into FIFA 19? Let me know down below, and also let me know who would you like to see it on. But with Ipswich Town, Bill Kowski of course being the highest rated player, being a gold card. Not really had the best start to this season, but judging off last season, undoubtedly is one of the best goalkeepers in the Championship. They then got Chambers and Knudsen, both as 71 rated players. Their defence looking quite strong on this year's FIFA. Attacking options not looking the best though for Ipswich. And Leeds United's ratings on this year's FIFA are very interesting to say the least. The thing with Leeds is obviously they have been unbelievable so far this season in the Championship, but as EA based these ratings off of last season's performances where Leeds, you know, really underperformed, it's quite easy to see, you know, why some players have been downgraded to the extent they have been. But Pontus Jansson coming in as a 76, that's probably fair. Barry Douglas I think should be higher than a 75. Last season in the Championship he was absolutely phenomenal. I think overall he picked up 13 assists as a left wing back. Should be maybe a 76, even a 77 in my opinion. Samu Saiz is a 75, I think that's a fair rating for him. Luke Ayling I think should be a little bit higher than that, but as he was injured for a large part of last season, I can see why he's still at a 73. Pablo Hernandez arguably should be higher than that as well, and Peacock Farrell only has a 66 rated goalkeeper. I think he should be a bit higher than that. For Middlesbrough's ratings, the one that really surprised me with this was Darren Randolph only being 71 rated. I don't know about you guys, but last season I thought he kept Middlesbrough in a whole lot of games and should undoubtedly be higher than 71 rated. Towards the tail end of last season as well, when Middlesbrough really started to pick up their form under Tony Pulis, he had some fantastic games and in my opinion should at least be a, you know, a 73, 74, maybe even a gold card. I think George French should also be higher than 71 rated. I think that EA tend to undervalue fullbacks for some reason, but he should be higher rated than that. Aidan Flint is a 75, that's probably fair, and Braithwaite as a 76, a very good player on his day. And then last up we have Millwall. They've still got George Saville on there, of course he is now playing for Middlesbrough. Some of these need to be updated, but Hutchinson coming in as their highest rated player, I think that's deserved really, an absolutely fantastic rock at the back for them. Jed Wallace only being 71 rated, in my opinion he should be bumped up a couple more ratings. Last season in the Championship I thought that he was absolutely phenomenal for them, being their main creative source going forward. I think with the season that Millwall had, quite a few of these players actually deserve to be upgraded by 1 or 2 more points. Norwich City have quite a few ratings which I disagree with going into this year's FIFA. Some of them I think should be higher and some of them I think should be lower. In terms of the players who I think probably should be downgraded from their ratings going into this year's FIFA, Tim Krul being 75 rated, I'm not too sure about that. That would suggest that he's one of the best goalkeepers in the Championship, and judging off his past, maybe 3 or 4 years ago that would have been the case, but over the past 2 years he's not played a lot of football, and the way he started this season with Norwich hasn't really been too convincing. I think he should be a few ratings lower than that. Also, Nelson Oliveira being a 73 rated player, once again I think he should be bumped down a couple of ratings. In recent years he's not really shown that in the Championship, and attitude problems, not really fitting into the system at Norwich. I think he should be a little bit lower than that. Grant Hanley is someone who I think should be higher than a 72 though. I think that with the presence he brought into that Norwich backline last season, he should be a little bit higher than 72. Forest have got quite a few interesting players going into this year's FIFA, with Gil Diaz being the highest rated player. Has actually quite a good card, some good stats in there, and maybe as a starter team for a Championship squad, Gil Diaz would be a decent option. But then one player I was instantly drawn to was Dawson, coming in with a whopping 29 pace onto FIFA 19. That is absolutely ridiculous. He's basically the Mertesacker of the Championship at this point. A few players I do think deserve to be a little bit higher though. Matty Cash I think deserves to be a bit higher than a 69, as does Helfer as well. I think he deserves to be in the low 70s. And next up we have my team, Preston, and actually I don't think we've been too harshly dealt with. There are some ratings which I do strongly disagree with, but on the whole I don't think these are bad really, considering what some of the Championship clubs have been rated as. Ben Pearson coming in as our highest rated player, arguably could be a bit higher than that, but even so, deservedly is our highest rated player. Alan Brown I think should be 1 or 2 ratings higher than 72. Donald Fisher deservedly getting a massive upgrade as well. Last season was one of the best fullbacks in the Championship, as does Ben Davies as well. He's coming up to a 70 rated card on this year's FIFA. Shirley Maguire as a 71. He could be higher than that, but as he was very injury prone last season, I can see why EA haven't bumped him up to more. But 71, considering I think he was 66 last year, a good upgrade at +5 is always nice. Some that I do disagree with though, we've got Andrew Hughes coming in as a bronze card on this year's FIFA. I'm not sure about that. So far from what I've seen of him, I think he does deserve to be higher than that. Ryan Ledson only 65 rated as well. We got Ben Pringle and Andy Boyle and Vermeil being higher rated than Ryan Ledson. That's not too good in my opinion. QPR squad that has a bit of a range in it really. We've got some really nice rated players for QPR. Luongo and Freeman both coming in as 74 rated players. 2 of the drivers in midfield that QPR have got there, and deservedly so, get very good ratings on this year's FIFA. Luke Freeman last year I think was very underrated. One player who should be higher though is Eze. So far in the Championship he's probably been their main creative source going forward, and only coming in as a 65 rated player. I know he still is very young, but even so, from what he's showed so far this season, should be a little bit higher than that. Reading are one of those sides who have seen quite a few downgrades going into this year's FIFA, of course, with last season not really going to plan for them. Aluko being one player who's been downgraded by quite a bit, Swift going down as well, but Moore coming in as their highest rated player, deservedly so. A very good defender in the Championship. We've also got Barrow coming in as a 73 rated player. I think he deserves that really. I thought that at times last season, where Reading were really underperforming, Barrow was someone who I still like the look of. I think that his flair going forward deserves to be in around that 73. I think it is fair to say that Rotherham don't have the best squad on FIFA 19, with their highest rated player only being 69 rated, and after that the ratings continue to drop off and drop off. So maybe a Rotherham United career mode in FIFA 19 might be, a fun thing to do to try and keep them up this season and build on their current foundations of their squad. But a couple of players I thought, from last season should be a bit higher rated. Joe Newell I think should be higher than a 67 in my opinion. Ball and Vassell should also probably be higher, and a couple of those I think could probably be bumped up a couple of ratings, but EA have been quite harsh maybe on Rotherham this year. Up next we then have Sheffield United, and a couple of these ratings I really do disagree with. Dean Henderson, the goalkeeper, only being 70 rated. I think with him being one of the most promising goalkeepers currently in English football, he should be a little bit higher rated than that. John Fleck I think deserves to be a 74, as does O'Connell. I think that Duffy and Coots both deserve to be higher than a 71 as well. What's interesting about Sheffield Wednesday is their highest rated player on this year's FIFA is probably going to be their third choice goalkeeper this season in Kieran Westwood, being a 75 rated player. Obviously he didn't play a lot of football last year with him picking up the injury and then the impressive form of Joe Wildsmith, but this year he is still a gold card being 75 rated. Forestieri being a 74, another player who was injured for a lot of last season, that's probably why he's not really been bumped up. Adam Reach and Barry Bannon though, I think both of these should be higher. I think that Barry Bannon arguably could even be a gold card, with some of the form he's showing at Sheffield Wednesday this season, and when he's on his top form, he's a superb footballer in the Championship. As well as that, Adam Reach I think should be higher than 72. Stoke probably do have the best squad going into FIFA 19 in the Championship though. A lot of gold cards going into this year's FIFA. Obviously we've already spoke about Jack Butland earlier on in the video. A couple of these gold cards I feel maybe should be a little bit lower rated, considering the season they had last time out. Players like Shaw Shawcross and Williams, I think, possibly should be a little bit lower than what EA is going to have been giving them. I think they've been quite kind with some of these. But one player from Stoke who has been criminally underrated is Ryan Woods, only being 72 rated. I think that is an absolute joke. He should at least be 74, maybe even pushing on to a gold card in my opinion. I think that Swansea would be a good team to start a career mode with in FIFA 19. They've got some really good youthful players, and then they've got a couple of positions which you need to strengthen up in the transfer window. But looking over the highest rated players, Jefferson Montero coming in as a 77 rated player, that's probably fair in my opinion. So far, whenever I have seen him play, he showed glimpses of absolute brilliance. Wilfred Boney coming in as a 76 rated player with only 53 pace. He's really been downgraded in that department since last FIFA, so he must have lost a leg or something while he's been injured. But Ollie McBurney being a 71, I think he should be 1 or 2 ratings higher than that. Similar to Stoke City, West Brom also have a very strong squad coming into FIFA 19. Quite a few gold cards on this year's FIFA. Obviously, Chadley won't be there. They got Dwight Gale coming in there, 75 rated, next to Jay Rodriguez, who is 77. That'll be a very good partnership going into this year's FIFA. Matty Phillips on the wing as well. Harvey Barnes is someone I feel has been slightly undervalued by EA. I think he deserves to be higher than a 69 rated player. Still a very young player, but even so, I feel like with some of the other players who have been rated higher than him, he should be higher than a 69. And then last up, we have Wigan Athletic. What's interesting is EA have gone ahead and given Nick Powell a 71 rated card, so 2 ratings lower than Bradley Dack, which is quite interesting from EA. But looking over Wigan squad, once again, quite a decent squad coming into this year's FIFA. A couple of players who I think have been quite undervalued. Their goalkeeper Walton should be higher than 68 in my opinion. Dan Burn, another player who has grown into a very capable defender in the past couple of years, should probably be higher than a 71. And possibly Will Grigg as well after the season he had last year in League One. But guys, there were all the FIFA 19 ratings for each championship club going into this year's new FIFA. So do you guys agree with what EA has rated your players from your club? Let me know down below. But other than that, guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So if you did enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Like I said, apologies for the lack of uploads recently. I just have been fairly busy. Tomorrow will be when my score predictions are coming back to the channel, guys. So make sure you guys do go ahead and stick around for that. But that will now wrap it up for this video, guys. So if you did enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. Also as well, please do subscribe for some regular championship content. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.